When we last left off, the Mossbots had just rescued Optimus from the events of One Shell Fall, where he lost to Megatron, unfortunately. And so, believe it or not, this is where we continue our story. With Grimlock having Megatron pinned underfoot, Megatron is still getting a boost from the Dark Energon, manages to barely, just barely, lift up Grimlock's foot and is able to wiggle out of there. However, he does not waste any time. He does not try to fight, he flees and gets out of there. Meanwhile, the monster bots are kind of just looking in a bit awe. What the heck is going on here? What's wrong with the planet? Why is it blowing up dark energon and stuff? And this is where RC tells them to get their butts back into base so they can figure it out now. And obviously they just go back in and, well, figure out the situation. And in all honesty, I think in this situation here, they actually do come to the conclusion that it is Unicron a lot earlier than the original. And instead of Optimus going by himself, he actually takes the monster bots with him to see if he can reason with Unicron. While Grimlock obviously thinks it's a dumb idea, he kind of wants to go to see if Optimus can actually do it, and so the monster bots just follow Grimlock at that point. So, with that being said, when Optimus actually makes Unicron pause, this makes Grimlock look at Optimus like, wait, what the... Did you... How did you... Okay, he actually managed to do it. I mean, dang, shoot. I mean, Cybertrons don't really owe each other money, but if they did, I guess Grimlock would probably owe somebody a couple bucks, right? However, this still goes the same with all the Unicron avatars popping out. However, with the monster bots there, they tear through them like they're nothing more than paper. I mean, they are made out of rock, so I guess that means they are kind of just fodder in general, which is absolutely funny. And so, to be kind of honest, they also take down the giant Unicron. And in all honesty, they do it pretty quickly. However, when a much bigger one shows up, they're kind of just looking like, dude, this is petty. Even for the Chaos Bringer, this is petty. And, well, Megatron does come in and does manage to save Optimus in this one. And, well, the monster bots are just about ready to pounce on him. And keep in mind, they're in their beast forms. So if they attack him right then and there, they can kill him. However, Optimus tells them to hold off for a minute. What do you want, Megatron? And Megatron offers him the same deal, to be able to exterminate Unicron once and for all. And this is where, in all honesty, it's kind of funny, because I think it's pretty simple that the monster bots will be looking at Optimus like, you better not take that deal. Into which Optimus does understand that giving Unicron, you know, having a weakness or a key into Unicron's spark would make everything a lot easier. So Optimus does take Megatron on his deal while he is holding off a Unicron avatar or a couple Unicron avatars, just like in the original. So this means that the Autobots do have to, well, go into the core and pretty much battle against Unicron. However, Optimus does something different in this timeline. Instead of giving it to Jack, he gives the key to Grimlock. And Grimlock looks at him like, huh? To which Optimus says that you've been in command before, and you've led armies through Cybertron to even prevent Megatron and his forces from going through the front line. Right now, you are the most capable of leading the team, and I need you to do so. To which Grimlock looks at Optimus like, are you going to die or something? To which Optimus says he doesn't know, but right now he needs to trust him. And right now, he is the best option to lead. And Grimlock kind of just takes the key, and then when he's prepared to leave with the rest of the Autobots, Optimus tells him that the monster bots are to stay here while he and the, you know, Autobots go and deal with Unicron. And while the monster bots do protest this, Optimus states that if they don't come back, they're the most dangerous force on the planet. And it's very likely they might be the last hope for it if they fall. Understanding what Optimus is laying down, Grimlock tells his team to pipe down for once and, well, trust Optimus. Getting a kind of a side look from the rest of the Autobots, like, what the... Did he say trust Optimus? Okay, well, I guess we're going. So, pretty much everything in Unicron's guts no diddy, pretty much just happens the same, with them just, well, having a, I guess you could say, a somewhat simpler time, but after all, it's still going to be the same way. Optimus loses his memory and winds up running off with Megatron, and unfortunately the Autobots can't really stop him. I mean, it is what it is. And so we now have to go into the first part of Orion Pax, with Grimlock already having leadership experience, and besides, he does have his ruffian nature. This means that the Autobots are kinda trusting him, but also kinda not. Meaning we do get a moment where RC does, break rank and lunge into the Decepticon warship, where, in all honesty, that could have been a bad idea. But again, considering the fact that Arachnid's not there, this means Soundwave can just do it all swift and stuff. Meaning that when she gets back to the base, this is where Grimlock gets the very, I guess you could say, sadistic irony of being the one to chew RC out about being reckless and how she could have gotten herself killed. To which this is where RC states she didn't see anyone else thinking of any ideas. To which this is where Grimlock states, you didn't bother even following his orders. What if they all stormed the warship together? They probably could have gotten him if she didn't run ahead. To which RC just feels like, oh dang. Yeah, okay, that's my fault, G. That's on me. That's on me. And so when the Autobots do have to find a way to, I guess you can say, discover where Megatron's space bridge is, there is no Starscream to actually be a snitch in this timeline. So they have to figure something out in some way to get Optimus back. Meanwhile, Megatron's doing the same thing. Manipulation of Orion, having him decode the Icon databanks, and etc. But with Starscream on his side, or Starscream still with the Autobots and stuff, or Starscream with the Decepticons, excuse me, and still staying with them, he does not expose the fact that Optimus is a prime. Meaning he does not get curious and goes digging through the information. So, yeah, I think everything goes simple. This means that, oh gosh, this is actually pretty horrible, that Orion is with the Decepticons possibly a lot longer than the original. Meaning Grimlock is actually in charge of the Autobots a lot longer as well. So how do they actually get to the coordinates of Vector Sigma? Well, believe it or not, I think there is a simple way, that being Arachnid. She's out on her own, down on her luck at the moment. And this is where she's actually found in the episode, I guess you could say in a similar episode way to, whatchamacallit, what was it called? I don't think it was called Crisscross. I think it was called Crisscross, maybe? Yeah, I think it was. It was called Crisscross. So she's found in a similar way to Mech, except she's actually causing a lot of destruction when fighting them, and this draws in the Autobots, with Grimlock and RC being the ones to subdue Arachnid while the rest of them simply run off Mech. And now, another issue. This is Silas's first time seeing with his own eyes the monster bots, and he looks at them like a kid getting a new Transformers toy. Absolute perfection. The perfect combination of organic and technology. And now he needs to replicate that. No matter what, he wants to see just how far he can go with replicating Cybertronian and organic technology, having his own monsters, if you will. And now, Silas has a new addiction. Kind of like my What If Balerion was in Transformers Prime, he has a new addiction. So, now we have something to worry about for the future. But Arachnid is dragged back to base and is subdued properly. And well, when she transforms back into a robot form, you can actually see the, mixture of Kumonga and her. I would actually say she looks relatively the same, except she does have a bit more spider-like features, and she is a bit more, I guess you could say, in her traditional colors, but with Kumonga's spider pattern. So, yeah, not too much change, but obviously she's now a Kaiju former, or Kaiju bot as well. So, believe it or not, how would this interaction go? I think RC would elect to kill Arachnid right then and there. However, Grimlock is a bit merciful this time around and opts to give Arachnid a new chance, a new look at life. And this is where Grimlock actually starts thinking like a Decepticon. He actually begins to gaslight Arachnid in a way. And while she is still cuffed, she actually understands what he's laying down. She has another chance. A chance to join them, to redeem herself for all her past atrocities, and a shot at revenge against not only Megatron, but the Insecticons who saw her as little more than nothing. And believe it or not, she's liking this deal. She likes how it sounds, how it is portrayed, and she starts eating this up, And so she makes that decision. She says, yeah, she'll join. To which RC is looking like, I'm sorry, what? What do you mean she'll join? To which this is where Grimlock says then she'll be under every bit of supervision until further notice. She'll be under the Monsterbots' constant guard and watch until they can feel like she can be trusted. So Arachnid, demonstrating her ability to, well, I guess you could say gain trust, if you will, she gives them the coordinates to one of Megatron's space bridges that she spotted a while ago while surveying the planet for, I guess you could say, other coordinates and stuff like that. And, well, the Monsterbots and Autobots storm the space bridge, with Grimlock and RC being the ones to go there. And believe it or not, along the way, they do have a conversation, whether or not if Grimlock is really mad for keeping Arachnid alive. To which this is where Grimlock actually becomes a little sympathetic towards RC and understands that he's lost friends as well. He may seem like the gruffest and most aggressive of the Autobots, to which he also says that, well, he actually is, so I guess that doesn't really help my case, right? But the thing about it is, he understands what Optimus means most of the time. Even if it seems soft and foolish, he does understand second chances and is willing to give Arachnid that, to say the least. So, believe it or not, Grimlock is simply stating something that Optimus would. And to RC, this is kind of a shock. She's never thought Grimlock would be kind of, I guess you could say, Prime-like, if you will. And now she understands why Optimus entrusted him with this key. Believe it or not, I guess you could say the way to Vector Sigma is a lot more easier than it was in the original, with Grimlock kind of just tearing through any Insecticon and obviously the Scrapless with ease, while RC is the one to pretty much just go down there, get the key to Vector Sigma or get the information, and pretty much just get out of there along with Grimlock. Now, does Megatron attack the space bridge in this timeline? I'm going to say no. He still needs something to give him an edge, and he doesn't know what it is just yet. And believe it or not, he he can't do anything. None of his troops can do anything against the Monsterbots. However, with the fact that Orion never discovers him being a Prime, and the fact that he's there just chilling out with Megatron and the Decepticons, this means he's still on the ship. He never comes down. Starscream's not going to risk slipping up or anything. And the funny part about it is, neither is Skyquake. Neither is Knockout. Neither is Breakdown. They're not going to risk slipping up and getting rid of a tactical edge. And the thing is, I think Megatron would actually keep him. But right now, with the Monsterbots realizing, or the Autobots realizing that they still need a way to get Optimus, this means that he's with the Decepticons a bit longer, with the next episode being Operation Bumblebee. Now, this episode does take place the same, except with Grimlock leading the Autobots, this is where he actually learns to actually command them effectively, or pretty much treating them like he did his troops on Cybertron, with the respect and admiration that they need. So when Bumblebee gets the T-Cog, he's easily able to, not the T-Cog, easily able to get the Spark Extractor. Megatron doesn't risk running back through the portal. Because again, he is not trying to catch that fade right now. And this is where I can actually see Megatron is pissed. He can't get a foothold against these Autobots permanently because of these darn monsters. And so now he has to think of something. There's got to be some way for him to get something on his side, to get a monster or something that doesn't have him rely on tidal wave. And when Shockwave chimes in, well, what about the Predacon, my lord? To which he says, Shockwave, it's only one Predacon. What can we do to really enhance its capabilities? To which this is where Shockwave simply states he has thought about another way to enhance it. There is still the Transmutator, Lord Megatron. And to which Megatron simply looks at Shockwave, are you mad? On the Predacon. To which Shockwave simply states, yes. What if we make a monster bot or a monster con that is more powerful than the rest, with the Predacon already as a base genome? So believe it or not, this is where Megatron does decide to take Shockwave up on his offer and tells him that once it's done, deploy our new warrior or our reborn warrior against the Autobots. And so Bumblebee still loses his T-Cog like in the original. However, Silas's laboratory is a lot different in this timeline. It looks something similar to Jurassic World, if you will. He's trying everything he can to recreate these monster bots in his own way, but he keeps failing, with many of these creatures coming out disfigured abominations, and kind of resembles some of them from Transformers Animated. Yeah, I definitely think I would go that route, with Silas kind of being the whole Ulysses Black or meltdown, if you will, of the TF Prime franchise. Because again, he has all these resources. Why not give him this whole Dr. Wu type of vibe or whatever? And, well, when they actually do begin experimenting on the T-Cog, it does give off its signal like in the original. However, some of the Monster Bots and Autobots are going to different coordinates, because, again, they still do not have Optimus just yet. And so, this is where Grimlock, RC, and Bulkhead are the ones to go and get the Forge of Solus Prime. And believe it or not, this is where they find someone waiting for them. It's a Cybertronian, golden, with scales and armor, to which Grimlock simply looks at him, and then he realizes something. It's the Predacon, to which Predaking himself turns around and says, yes, indeed. It is me. I go by Predaking now. However, my form is now twice as deadly as it was before. Shall I demonstrate? And this is where Predaking transforms into Ghidorah. Now, with that being said, how does this go? Well, believe it or not, Grimlock loses. Even in a beast battle, he loses. And he loses badly. Now, again, you might say, oh, well, why would he lose here and now? Well, here's the thing. It's Gorosaurus versus King Ghidorah. I want y'all to think about that real quick. Gorosaurus can't take on King Ghidorah by himself. He can damage him, don't get me wrong. We already know about the infamous Gorosaurus breaking King Ghidorah's back feet, but he wouldn't have been able to get that off without the help of the other Kaiju. And the same thing goes for every other Kaiju. So Grimlock right now is relying on RC and Bulkhead. However, he tells them to get the Forge and make their way down the mountain now, kind of leaving him there to fight against Predaking. And this is where Grimlock actually demonstrates that while he cannot match him strength for strength, he can beat him skill for skill, and actually begins applying his pit fighting knowledge in his robot form to actually beat Predaking. And believe it or not, it's not a very easy fight, because again, Predaking is in a much stronger state. And the 3 heads actually means he's struggling a lot more. So when this happens, Predaking transforms into his robot form, trying to actually fight Grimlock bot for bot. Something that Grimlock desperately needed, as again, the beast form was overwhelming. And so, bot for bot, Grimlock not only gets the upper hand, but actually throws Predaking off the mountain. However, he transforms right back and flies up at him. However, just in the nick of time, Ratchet opens a ground bridge beneath him before a gravity beam hits. And this is where we actually see all the Autobots shocked. Even the monster bots are shocked. Grimlock has taken a beating, and I mean one that was massive. And we actually see the one that's beside him while he's recovering is RC. But now they have to figure something out. They need Optimus back immediately, because they cannot keep doing this. They can't keep relying on just luck and tactics. Sure, they got the Forge of Solus Prime, no problem, but they can't use it. But this is also where they do have some good news, where Bumblebee, Snarl, and Sludge were actually able to recover his T-Cog, and were actually able to, well, put it back. Yeah. But they also note that Mech seems to be conducting some very interesting operations, and this is where Bumblebee actually shows a holographic projection of what they're creating, and well, it just looks horrifying and disgusting to them for right now. Meanwhile, Megatron is actually pleased, and Soundwave is showing him the footage of the monster bot Grimlock actually having to retreat. And with the mightiest of them now on the back foot, this gives Megatron a whole new level of confidence. And he decides that he's going to need to press the advantage and wipe out the Autobots completely. The next episode, however, is Loose Cannons, and this actually goes vastly differently. With Arachnid now being a part of the Monster Bots, we actually get to see her in action when it comes to Dreadwing. Now, this actually means the Autobots have a good chance, and utilizes Dreadwing as pretty much a bait for the Decepticon warship, so that when he sends a signal and the warship comes into view, the Autobots utilize everything at their disposal to make sure the warship does not get away. This even includes utilizing relics like the Polarity Gauntlet and the Immobilizer, as well as getting ready to also use the Spark Extractor just in case. And believe it or not, this plan works. The Monster Bots are able to keep the warship distracted, and this forces Megatron, Skyquake, and Predaking, and even Shockwave to descend upon the battlefield. Meanwhile, RC and Arachnid are the ones to make their way towards Optimus, with even Arachnid stating that she does not really like the idea of helping her, but for right now, they are on the same side. However, Arachnid still does have to deal with someone else, that being Hardshell. And while she does try to control him, he actually manages to force it out, and they begin fighting. Luckily for Arachnid, she's enhanced, meaning she's stronger than Hardshell at this point, and just webs him up to the wall. And before she can really think about extinguishing his spark, she hears the words, "Stand down, Arachnid. That'll be enough for today." And this is where she turns to see Optimus and RC, with him having his memories restored. And that's where we're going to leave it off here, you guys. How are the Autobots going to escape? Are they going to use the Spark Extractor? Will Megatron actually gain Skyquake and Dreadwing at the same time, making him doubly overpowered? Well, kind of, sort of, in a sense, but you know. But hey, that's gonna be all today, you guys. Please comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I hope you guys have a blessed day.